So I just started a script in this video and I already realized a defunct land made a history video about the relationship between Disney and McDonald's. But I'm doing something a bit different. I will explain the relationship, but I also want to talk about some Disney media that has McDonald's in it because hey, who doesn't like product placement in media? But surprisingly, this all starts back in the First World War when both Ray Kroc and Walt Disney, both 15 at the time, faked their ages to serve their country, and they did that by helping the Red Cross by becoming ambulance drivers. They did meet in the First World War, but they wouldn't cross paths until 40 years later when Ray eventually became the CEO of McDonald's. Ray tried to approach Disney for a partnership in 1954 where a McDonald's would be put in Disneyland, but this didn't go anywhere as the letter Ray wrote for Walt didn't get to him. But this relationship started to form in 1989 when Disneyland was opening the new attraction at the time, Splash Mountain. A ride based on a very controversial Disney film released in 1946, Song of the South. A ride based on a very controversial Disney film released in 1946 called Song of the South, where McDonald's ran a promotion for the ride where customers of McDonald's restaurants could win prizes such as discounted food items and even tickets to Disneyland. It all seems great, but the issue with this is that Disney was behind schedule with the ride's opening date as there were delays with construction on the ride and eventually opened 6 months later. Even with the issues with that promotion, McDonald's did have Happy Meal toys for the Disney films The Little Mermaid and The Rescuers Down Under. Then in 1996, McDonald's and Disney came to an agreement for a 10-year partnership where McDonald's paid $1 million to have the rights to use any Disney character for toys or any promotions the company wanted to run. The 10-year partnership started with a trivia challenge where people would have to guess trivia questions from Disney films to win prizes, and you even had a chance to win a brand new Dodge Viper. This is really just a promotion that wouldn't even work today because everyone just has Google and they could find out the answers instantly. Disney went on to have Happy Meal toys for the Disney films that were made from 1996 onwards, such as Mulan, Toy Story 2, Inspector Gadget, as well as many other films that came out during this time. So during this 10 years of Disney and McDonald's partnership, McDonald's did actually show up in a few different sources of Disney media, and I want to talk about them all. But let's start with Inspector Gadget since I just mentioned that film, but not the first film. Let's talk about the sequel instead. There is a scene in the film where Inspector Gadget's going to a science convention because he received a letter that Dr. Claw will be at the science convention. In the scene at the science convention, we see Inspector Gadget get some McDonald's as two of Dr. Claw's henchmen disguised as Inspector Gadget fans approach him. The henchmen implant a device on him where Dr. Claw can control Inspector Gadget and he eventually fucks shit up by spilling his food everywhere and even ends up making Mickey Mouse's head out of his robotic limbs. Yeah, watching this movie again, it's really fucking weird. But who remembers this game? This shit was my childhood, and to be honest, playing this again isn't the best experience. The best example of the worst this game has to offer you is at the start of the game where you're collecting Nokia ringtones. After you get all the ringtones, the residents of Hollywood, yeah, that's really what this place is called, dance to a ringtone. But it gets better as there is a mission where you deliver various McDonald's items to the residents of Hollywood. But you might be asking, what's your reward for doing that? Well, these sick-ass Ronald McDonald shoes and socks for your character, and it's weird to see a McDonald's restaurant in what's basically a Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, as the same game developers created this game as well. I find it very strange that both Inspector Gadget 2 and Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure are the only two sources of Disney media to have McDonald's in them, and also that they're both released in 2003. I'm honestly surprised that these are the only two things that McDonald's shows up in with Disney media, as I thought they would have at least produced the Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald series. To be fair though, the show does look exactly like the Wild Thornberrys with the animation style, so Disney probably thought it wasn't a good idea to collaborate on that. So anyways, I know that this is a short video, but I hope you enjoyed it. This is a random topic I wanted to talk about, but hey, I thought it was interesting so I did want to make a video about it. If I did miss any Disney media that has McDonald's in it, please let me know, as I'd love to know what else McDonald's is in with like Disney films and stuff like that. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to give it a like and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing as it does help me out a lot. Also, you should check out my merch store at zachR.store. Like, hey, I'm even wearing one of my pieces of merch. Alright, this is the Q&A that I said I'll do as a massive thanks for all the support in 2022 when I came back, because I gained nearly 2,500 subs since I was back on YouTube at the end of October. And since the end of the year. Like, how nuts is that? It's ridiculous. But let's get into the questions. These are both on Discord and YouTube. I did a community post, people commented on that, and people posted questions on my Discord server. So, first question comes from Thames on my Discord server, asking what inspired you to make PSA content. basically, I think something you might know, I started off on TikTok. I was basically just posting PSAs because no one really did it on TikTok. So I was doing that, doing the gist and stuff, but because I was just kept posting PSAs, I'm like, you know what? I want to do YouTube videos. So I went and did that. I started uploading my old PSA content, because I talked about PSAs years and years ago on an old channel, but it didn't really go anywhere. No one really watched it. With this new PSA archive stuff, obviously, if you don't know, my name was PSA Archive in the past. I decided to make a YouTube channel basically talking about PSAs and doing something different because I like to talk about things. I don't want to have like compilations like everyone else. There's plenty of channels that have compilations of ads and PSAs. So I'm like, nah, I want to actually sit down and talk about them instead of just going top 50 PSAs or top 50 most effective and just playing the PSAs and have nothing else. I wanted to do something different. You can say that just not really having as much content on those platforms of PSAs is what inspired me to do it, because I've always been a fan of PSAs. Got videos about that in the past and stuff like that. Alright, so we got a question from Liam. It said, hey Zach, what introduced you into PSAs? Did you see me on TV when you were a kid? Long story short, basically my Critics' Choice video, it should be up on the screen at the moment. That basically explains it all. That's probably the main reason why I got into PSAs, was that. Alright, so I got a question from That One Drama Boss at the Discord server. Out of the icebergs you've made, which one would you consider to be the best one / your favorite? Easily the Mega PSA iceberg. Just because I had to make the whole iceberg from scratch, I made it of over 220 entries. Oh, it wasn't really a scratch. I based it off the Ultimate PSA iceberg and extended it. Even then, it's over 220 entries. It was such a big thing to do, and I'm proud with how it ended up. Even though it's like, there's a few mistakes here and there, but the video is over 2 hours long. I'm not going to get everything 100% right with a big video like that. Alright, so I got a question from Lancey Boy in the Discord server asking, what is the worst TAC PSA in your opinion? I gotta say a Trial to the King. Like, I thought about this for a bit, actually. I would say Heavenly Gates is close, but the difference is with Heavenly Gates to a Trial to the King is Heavenly Gates is so bad that it's good. Like, it's just so ridiculously bad that it's funny, but a Trial to the King, I just hate it. I don't enjoy it at all. Your local truth and MMP lover says, do you think UK RSPCA can make a comeback? Did they ever even have a peak? I'm sorry, that's all I'll say, is they weren't really that good ever. Alright, got a question from Asta/Danny asking, if you had to choose a PSA to permanently get rid of, which one would it be? I had to think about this for a little bit. I'd probably say a mock. A mock from SWR is really offensive, really poor taste, so that's one I'll definitely get rid of. Alright, Teddy Rude 12 asks, what's the best Japanese PSA? I will say probably Kitchen Mother, in my opinion. So Dryer Locket 7477 asks, what's the most underrated game you've played? Example, Knuckles Chaotix. Yeah, that's actually a good example, actually. Knuckles Chaotix is pretty underrated. I feel like Sonic CD is pretty underrated at this point now. People really shit on Sonic CD. Sonic Heroes, I would say, is pretty underrated. The games I usually play, like I've played in the past, aren't really underrated. Oh yeah, actually, Black Ops 3. Absolutely Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 is so underrated because the zombies is absolute S tier. Alright, so I got a question from Pep the Cartoon Animal asking, if you can make any PSA, what would it be about? I really don't know. I really don't know. I have like drafted a PSA and scripted and storyboarded a PSA before for the TAC split second competition. I did that last year. I really don't know. If I was given like any like type of PSA I can make, I really don't know, because there's so many different topics you could cover. This is like this split second competition goes, then yeah, obviously it'd be something about drink driving or something like that, because that's what it's usually about. But yeah, the year I did it, the PSA to die for one, which is actually a good PSA, so I'm not pissed that I lost that at all. Like, that was actually a really good PSA, so bravo. But hey, maybe I'll do the split second competition next year in scripted storyboarded PSA again. Alright, so I got a question from Mr. Experimentation in our music. They ask, what kind of music do you listen to and what's your favorite album? Favorite album goes, I don't really have a favorite album. I listen to a lot of heavy metal music. Like, I don't really listen to other stuff. I listen to a lot of heavy metal music and heavier music. I don't really listen to death metal, and so that's kind of where it goes too far. Like, a favorite album, I don't know. I've got a favorite band, which is Pantera, but my favorite album from them is probably Far Beyond Driven or Vorgal Display of Power. So there you go, choose one of those two. But there's some pretty heavy contenders with that too, like the first album of Korn, System of a Down, Toxicity, Slipknot's Iowa. There's a lot of good albums that could contest with that too. Alright, so I got a question from Angel Trunks asking, what's your favorite candy and why? It's so weird hearing candy since we call it lollies down here. But anyways, I don't know. As the chocolates go, crunchies, which is basically a honeycomb chocolate, those go so hard. I really don't know. I don't have a definitive answer. But as chocolates go, yeah, crunchy, absolutely. Alright, so I got a question from Hex Maniac Hannah, and they ask favorite Sonic game. I was going to say Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but I'm going to be honest. Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania is so fucking good. It is an amazing game. I have played the absolute shit out of that game. I love it. It is definitive S-tier Sonic. Alright, John asks the question, which country or countries in your opinion have the best PSAs? Which do you think have the worst PSAs? Alright, here comes the bias. Australia has the best PSAs. But to be fair though, with countries like the US, they do have a lot of really good PSAs, but they do have a lot of really bad ones because they have so many PSAs. Like, it ranges from really good to really shit. I feel like Australia is a lot more consistent than other countries. So, even bias aside, I feel like they're a lot more consistent. So, I would have to say Australia for the best. Which do I think have the worst, though? Because of SWR, I'd say Germany. SWR just ruins that country. Because you don't really see many other PSAs from other companies. If you think of German PSAs, you think of SWR. And that's kind of the stigma that country has, and most of SWR's PSAs are terrible. Which PSA company do you believe of any country to be the best? That is, which company in the world do you think consistently makes the best PSAs and why? I think I've talked about this before, but I'm going to say TAC. TAC just wins. Like, they've been extremely consistent for nearly 30 years. They've made PSAs for almost 30 years and they've been extremely consistent. They had a little downward slope in the late 2010s, with a few shit PSAs, but they're back up again. This year, they released 2 PSAs, and they're good. So I think they're back up again. Kona/Elk Skull Films asked the question, how much of your videos are scripted? More specifically, the top 20 videos and icebergs. Basically all of it. Like, I script a whole video. I script every video. I script the whole way through. I will leave room for ad-libbing and stuff. Like, say, if I'm recording and I ad-lib a little bit and say something a little bit different, I'll let that fly. My videos are completely scripted. I script everything, do a lot of research, and make sure everything's as good as I can get it before I record and edit and obviously and all that stuff. Alright, so Musty U has 2 questions for me. The first question is, what first got you into making iceberg chart videos? Honestly, I was watching a lot of icebergs around that point, so I kind of just thought, no one's really done PSA icebergs. Like, they might have touched it on a few different PSAs because they've talked about like advertisements in general. There would be a couple of PSAs in those icebergs. But I thought, you know what? I'll just do a full PSA iceberg. And then I did that. And then obviously I've branched out a bit and doing a bit more ads and stuff now too. Alright, so the second question they ask is, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody wishing to become a successful content creator on YouTube, what advice would you give and why? Make what you're passionate about. That's probably the biggest thing I will say. Also, consistency is a good thing too. Being consistent, uploading, I'll probably say once a week. That's what I do. Works pretty well. Also, don't be afraid to make videos that are gaining traction on YouTube and make your own perspective on it. Like, don't be afraid to make videos about trending topics on YouTube. Like, say, like, my iceberg videos is a great example. A lot of people watching iceberg videos. I was watching those videos at the time, so I was inspired to make iceberg videos myself. So don't be afraid to have your own take or your own spin on those things and make your own videos on it, because it might be something that works for your channel and gains you views. Like, it might help you in the long run. But I feel like consistency too has really helped me out a lot. Hopefully I answered that question properly. Sorry, I was sitting here for the past 10-15 minutes trying to answer the question properly. Okay, Jimmy RCG asked this question. There's been a lot of YouTube PSA/PIF content creators who have come and gone. Do you think that might be because talking about PSAs at some point becomes difficult without bringing up a lot of the same points? What do you want to focus on for keeping things fresh without burning out? Thanks for all you do, man. Keep it up. Hope 2023 is a banger. I appreciate that a lot. But honestly, with that question, I feel like a lot of other PSA and PIF content creators don't really talk about PSAs. There's a few. There are a couple out there, but they don't really talk about it. They'll just use like text and stuff. So for them, I can understand that. I can understand that's definitely a valid point, because that's what happened with me. I got so burnt out on talking about the same thing over and over again. And it even happens a little bit at the moment where, especially with the iceberg videos and the entries come up again in a different iceberg, I'm just like, man, I've talked about this a million times. So I definitely get where they're coming from, and it's happened to me in the past. That's why I've been on and off YouTube God knows how many times. So that's why I wanted to branch out. It's like, I can still talk about these things, but I can talk about other things too if I want to. So that's the way I've combated it, and I feel like that's what's going to work to keep me on YouTube. Alright, Cat Soda asks a few questions. The first question is, what's your favorite kind of video to make? Honestly, it really depends. Sometimes I will just have a lot of passion for a video, and that's what I enjoy making the most. Like, the rap video. I think that's a good example of something I really wanted to make, because it's just something completely different to the channel and a bit of fun. And I really enjoyed making that video. It was something completely different to what's on the channel, but I really enjoyed it because I was passionate about it. It's just, those videos I'm passionate for is what I really enjoy making. What topic do you think has the strongest or weakest PSAs? I'm going to be honest, I really don't know. That would take me way too long to think of that. I'd be sitting here for, honestly, hours, because there's so many different topics of PSAs. It's really hard to answer that one. Favorite animal, just for fun. I went and swam with dolphins in November of 2022 at SeaWorld, so hey. Yeah, I'm going to say dolphins. I never really thought about that one, but hey. Yeah, dolphins is a safe answer. Scrimby asks the question, how long have you been interested in PSAs and commercials and that sort of kind of thing? Like actively looking for them, may already have been started, and blah blah blah. And what inspired you to start your channel? I've talked about what inspired me to start my channel a million times. Basically, no one talked about PSAs on TikTok, so I started on TikTok. And because I was just uploading PSAs, I was like, stuff it, I'm going to make videos on it and really talk about them and have my own perspective on them that no one was doing on YouTube. So I thought, stuff it, I'll do it on YouTube. How long have I been interested in PSAs and commercials? I would probably say at least 10 years. It's probably since 2011, in my opinion. Like, that's when I really got interested in it with the Critics' Choice video. I've talked about that in the past too. Alright, Dragon Queen asked the question, so do you plan on doing guitar covers anymore? Honestly, on this channel, probably not. Maybe I will in the future, but who really knows? I think 99% of people on here didn't even know I made a guitar cover on this channel. So, there's that. Do you plan on extending your content? I think that's what I've kind of done with rebranding the channel. I do want to do it a little bit more eventually in the future, but we'll see how things go. Alright, John Studios asked the question, is it difficult to make videos sometimes because of a graphic PSA? I will say it used to in the past. I feel like those graphic PSAs that I was disturbed by, I've already been desensitized from. Like, definitely when I started making these videos and stuff. Oh, absolutely. Elvis Depressedly asked the question, do you still not like Canadian PSAs? Why or why not? Did people really think I didn't like Canadian PSAs just because I don't really like the WSIB PSAs? I like some Canadian PSAs. I don't know what you're talking about. But they are pretty average. I'll say that. They are pretty average overall. There's just a lot of PSAs that are really over the top, like the WSIB PSAs. They're really over the top with trying to get their message across. There's one good PSA from them that I will admit is a good PSA, which is the electricity PSA in the funeral, where the dude that got electrocuted to death that comes back out of the grave and says, this isn't an accident and all that. That's a good PSA for them. Woomy Person 128 asked the question, are you an avid fan of Nyan Neko Sugar Girls? I hope you are. What the fuck is Nyan Neko Sugar Girls? Sorry, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I'm gonna search this shit up. What is it? Oh, I know what this is. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I saw Salty DK Dan's video on this shit. Oh, I know what this is. Oh my god. I can't believe that. I forgot what the fuck that was. Doesn't the main character turn into a fucking cat or something at one point? And they die at the end because the person they were crushing on was gay in the end or something like that. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed me answering your questions, and I hope you enjoyed the videos throughout 2022. Let's hope that this year in 2023 is going to be an absolutely banger year. I would love to be able to do this full time, which would be absolutely insane. But we'll see how we go throughout the year, see how the channel goes, see how the traction goes. And if I can do it full time, that'd be fucking awesome. That's all I would say. I appreciate the support throughout 2022. That's why I've done this Q&A. Appreciate all you, and I'll catch you on the next video.